Hey there, it's Tuesday's weather for Weather Geeks video. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're enjoying a nice summer day today. It's pretty toasty out there this afternoon. It doesn't feel like it has very often this summer. These are 2 o'clock hour temperatures, and we've got 82 here in Youngstown and lower and middle 80s just about everywhere in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania, and the sun is shining. What about those dew points this afternoon? Well, they're creeping up there now. This 53 at the Youngstown Warren Airport seems a little weird to me. As you can see, most dew points are now into the lower 60s across the region, and that is making it feel like August should. We haven't had too many of these kinds of days. In fact, I'll even show you the heat index this afternoon. It's not terribly different than the temperature, but the heat index is pushing 90 down around I-70 from Dayton to Columbus. It's in the mid-80s, Akron, Canton, Dover, New Philly, and down towards Pittsburgh as well. Well, our weather looking pretty quiet for the time being. Some thunderstorms riding the ridges out there in west central PA around Johnstown. And then you run into some beefier action out here to the west, some showers and storms. In fact, even a severe thunderstorm warning on this line up here in southwestern Michigan, just southeast of Grand Rapids. That's where the nation's worst weather is for the most part right now, although you look down in the southeast, and there are a few thunderstorms prompting warnings in southeastern parts of Alabama, Georgia, down in South Carolina, and just east of Tallahassee, Florida. A couple of summertime storms prompting some warnings there. The west is also pretty active, showers and storms, particularly in the higher elevations out here. This is pretty typical for this time of the year. A lot of the rain that falls in the Four Corners region in the southwest occurs in late summer. Then they get some storms in the winter, but late summer can be a pretty active period out there. All right, that's an overview of what's going on now. Let's talk about what's going to happen later on. I'm going to bring up our latest high-resolution rapid refresh model. This is a model that is still in kind of the experimental phase, they call it, but it is used by operational meteorologists, and it's updated once an hour and can be pretty useful to us in the short term. Here's the simulated radar product at 4 p.m. today. That line of showers and storms up in Michigan continues to march east while we stay quiet. And let's head towards the evening. If you have outdoor plans this evening, after school, and for some of us after, I should say after work, and for some of us after school, as school has started in some spots. Here's 6 o'clock this evening. Storms bearing down on Detroit. Dayton getting a little bit dark, I think, by 6 o'clock with storms out to the west. But again, we are quiet here in eastern Ohio and western parts of Pennsylvania at 6 o'clock this evening. A couple hours after that, here's 8 p.m., and Cleveland may be getting a little wet at this point. Notice that things are kind of weakening. Let me back up a couple of hours here. 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Things are looking a little bit weaker to me on this simulated radar out to our west. Here's 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Storms at this point expected to get up to about I-71. So you'll notice we're dry through the end of the daylight hours today. Going to tonight, here's the wee hours of the morning at 1 a.m., and this is when we will be getting wet. Looks like a pretty good band of showers with some embedded thunder coming through. Could hear some claps of thunder as we head through the overnight. That looks like it's probably the wettest part of the night. Midnight, maybe 2 or 3 a.m. Severe weather, not all that likely here. Here's a look at the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center outlook for this afternoon. The yellow is the enhanced risk of severe weather. That includes the lower Ohio River Valley, heading up to about Detroit. The green shade here, that's the just general thunderstorm risk, where the odds of severe weather are pretty low. And of course, we are in that green shading here in eastern Ohio and western parts of Pennsylvania. So let's bring up our computer model again. We'll fast forward to tomorrow morning. As we get up and about Wednesday morning, I think there might be a school or two starting tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Thursday across the region. It looks like this. Scattering of showers perhaps still around, left over from the overnight. I think what's going to happen tomorrow is the day is going to start damp, and then there's likely to be a nice lull here midday. Here's 11 a.m. As soon as the data comes up, you'll notice not much going on at this point. So the lunch hour likely to be pretty dry across the region for tomorrow. And then as we get a little sunshine working in, the atmosphere is going to become kind of unstable again tomorrow afternoon. And I think activity is going to be kind of popping up here and there tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. This will be the classic summertime hit or miss stuff. Your neighbor might get a storm. Well, you may not. Sometimes it's just that close of a call. So that's going to be the overall idea tomorrow. Damp starts, not much for mid to late morning. A few backyards will get a quick downpour or maybe just even a shower tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Here at 6 p.m. tomorrow evening, we have the 30 to 35, maybe 40% chance of a quick shower or thunderstorm around the region tomorrow afternoon. Well, a quick look at the temperature anomalies this month shows, of course, it's been a cooler than average month. We're about -3 as far as the actual number here in Youngstown, but there's lots of similar numbers throughout the eastern two-thirds of the country. Really, the only region that's been warmer than average so far this month has been the Pacific Northwest, where they've had record heat this summer. This could go down as the warmest summer on record in San Francisco, and one of the warmest summers on record up in Portland and in Seattle. Anytime it's warm along the West Coast, a lot of times odds favor it being cool in the East. That's the way the pattern's been so far this summer. We'll talk a little bit more about temperatures in just a second. Let's go back to the precipitation outlook, though. Taking a look at the end of the week, this is Thursday. Here's what we have going on Thursday. I'm showing you kind of a different chart here. This is the 500 millibar chart, region about 18,000 feet above our heads, where we look for spin or vorticity in the atmosphere. There's a big area of spin right here. A lot of times that will lead to some precipitation. And here's a look at Thursday. That'll enhance some precipitation up in upstate New York. Down across Ohio and western Pennsylvania, I don't think Thursday's a very wet day. There could be a spotty storm or two. A lot of it's going to be missing us to the northeast and also missing us to the south on Thursday. And then the end of the week also looking kind of just real scattered or hit or miss. Here's the precipitation outlook for Friday. Here's the upper level flow. There's this little disturbance coming down through the lakes here in the yellow and red. That'll be enough to kick up widely scattered showers and storms as we wrap up the week on Friday. Previously, we had a dry forecast on Saturday, and we'll see what the other models have to say. GFS model here does bring us some precipitation. All of this stuff kind of rounding the bend here. There's a big ridge this week out across the Mississippi Valley. Now, the northeastern periphery of that ridge, these little disturbances come across. They cascade southeast, and they sometimes are going to kick up some showers and storms later this week and heading into the upcoming weekend. All right, the longer range. I've been talking about how it's likely to be at or above average a lot of the time over the next week. Here's the next 5 days worth of temperature anomalies. Notice the East Coast is cool, the Rockies are cool, but big dome of heat in the Mississippi Valley, and we're just on the outer fringes of that here. So we're going to see a lot of highs pretty close to or a little above average over the next 5, 6, 7 days. That means a lot of highs at around 81, 82, 83. No records or anything, but slightly above average. So that's the next 5 days. Here's the 5 days after that. This will take us from the 24th through the morning of the 29th. And this will be kind of a transitional period as the warmth is likely to continue, especially out to our west. But the cool air begins to move out in the plain states. Here's now through 5 days from now. Notice the Dakotas, Nebraska, still on the warm side, but then that cooler air begins to get on the move here across the plains, and eventually that cooler air is going to come east. Here's a look at the 29th through the 3rd, and of course this will take us into the heart of the Canfield Fair, end of next week into next weekend, and the models have been singing this song now for a while that while the Canfield Fair may start warm, odds are starting to favor a cool down at some point during the fair, and maybe towards the weekend. But we are looking for maybe a cooler than average end to the Canfield Fair this year. Plenty of time to work out that forecast. It's a week and a half out, but did want to give you a little preview. And we'll wrap things up with a quick September preview. This is for the entire month, based on the last several runs of the climate forecast system climate model. It's advertising a cooler than average month out in the Rockies, but around the Great Lakes and Northeast, there's not much of a signal on this model at this point. Some entities have been honking about a polar vortex and a cooler than average September, and well, I can't say that they're going to be wrong. Right now, the CFS model is not saying that's going to be the case. It'll, according to this model, end up being a kind of a typical September temperature-wise. So a little preview there. We'll see how this model changes its tune over the next week to 10 days, but right now it's not showing a strong signal, either warm or cold for us during the month of September. That's Weather for Weather Geeks on this Tuesday. Thanks for sticking with me today. Check out my forecast tonight, 21 News at 6 and 11, and Weather Geeks will be back Wednesday afternoon about 2:30 or 3 o'clock.